Hello, my science lovers. For this particular episode of ScientistMel Shorts, what we're going to talk about is dogs. Now, this particular series is exclusively for people who love science but are short on time. So this is a condensed version of the information from one of my live streams. So let's go ahead and get started. Okie dokie. So thank you, Peter, aka Gonna Go For It, for making that cool intro. So let's talk dogs. What we're going to talk about is how did they come to be, how many breeds are associated, and different kinds of ethical issues that we need to take in consideration in regard to dogs. There are about 400 distinct breeds. Artificial selection has played a role in how dogs have evolved. Essentially what that means is that we find traits that are pronounced in certain dogs, and we mate them together in the hopes that those traits kind of stick around. And this is how dogs have evolved over time, through human intervention. There are two possible domestication events that appear within dog DNA, and it starts to appear around the start of agriculture, but there's some dispute on that, so the jury is a little bit out on exactly when it actually started due to the two possible domestication events. Now, human and dog brains are also in sync. How groovy is that? So, when we're talking about dogs, things that we got to think about. Dogs are our evolutionary best friends. How did they become this way? Well, there are several working theories. The main theory focuses on dog domestication at the time prior to early agriculture. That's about 14,000 years ago. However, there are fossils that date twice that, which leads to the idea that domestication happened not once, but twice. Mitochondrial DNA studies also suggest that a divergence from the common ancestor happened twice with dog domestication. Now, what we can confirm is that dogs are the oldest pets humans have ever had. So dog domestication aided hunter-gatherers, and dogs made hunting better. So something to kind of take a look at is essentially, and I do have a video that you can watch on the BBC. They have a really cool video that discusses dog evolution and the possible impact that it had on the development of agriculture. So dogs made people a bit better at hunting, and also kind of started with when they started to become domesticating dogs, that kind of led to also domestication of cattle. So let's have a look a little bit at this particular diagram here. All right, so there are many routes to domestication, but dogs are the only large carnivore that have ever been domesticated, and they were the first of many animals to live alongside humans. So approximately around 12 to 14,000 years ago, we see the domestication of dogs in the fossil record. Then around 9,000 years ago, we see like the cattle, where we start agriculture between 9 to 10,000 years ago. So we're seeing like we have all of these animals that have lived alongside humans, but the take home from this is that dogs were the first ones that we domesticated fully and that we had as pets. So that is pretty freaking cool. So when we're talking about dogs, another thing that we have to consider, all the clicking. Another thing we have to consider, dogs and humans' brains have now become in sync with each other. So there's new research with this. We have co-evolved to become connected. Dogs fire off the maternal bonding system in our brains. We become connected on a biochemical level. Dogs also have become reliant on us in that they no longer rely on each other as a species. Studies have shown that dogs may be able to problem solve as their wolf ancestors do, but they default to humans to solve their problems, which is pretty interesting. They still lean on humans to solve them. So they use human cues to carry on with the next step. This as a whole means that dogs now cannot survive as a species without humans. So dogs also seek prolonged interaction with humans. There are some working theories that wolves sought domestication, and it may not be that humans initiated these interactions. Hunter-gatherers are appealing to wolves in that they already have food. Now, those wolves who sought food have a higher advantage of working with humans to gain access to resources. Dogs likely domesticated themselves. Now, there is DNA evidence that reinforces this. Friendly dogs have a genetic sequence that is intact in aloof wolves who do not necessarily act like other wolves, the aggression. So humans also have a gene that recognizes friendliness. Williams-Barron syndrome, this is a condition involving exceptionally trusting, friendly behaviors. Now, artificial selection and cuteness. Essentially what we're talking about with artificial selection and cuteness is that we actually cultivated that cuteness. So if we see this cuteness within dogs, we kind of chose for that and continued to breed that. Now, there have been some Russian fox studies associated with this type of thing. Foxes learned what humans found cute. And so those particular foxes were social foxes, and that contributed to the breeding of those particular Russian foxes. Now, this particular study involved breeding those friendly foxes, who in turn developed a high level of adorableness. So these are our dogs. We did this. This is amazing. And I freaking love dogs. I love dogs so much. So I'm going to take a moment to thank my patrons. I need to add Aaliyah to this. And Nana. So Nana and Aaliyah, this is an old slide, but I'm going to give you a shout out for being my patrons. I've got James, Jen, Carl, Melanie, Patrick, Daniel, Stephen, Paula, Carrie, Cersei, Keith, Duke, James, Andy, Zachary, Tony, Bo, Stephen, Sarah, Chris, Graham, Dragnot, Godless Iowan, Jennifer, Richard, Doc, Fearsome, and Neil. Aaliyah is my newest patron, and Nana. I need to update this slide, but I have an intro video that I'm going to start using for you guys. So yay, I'm going to get that in here for my live streams. So thank you so much. You help me do what I do, and I could not do this without you. You can find me on ScientistMel.com if you want to be a patron. I love my patrons. They contribute to my science work and outreach programs I'm developing. A big goal, hopefully a science communication convention. You can find me on Periscope, YouTube, Facebook, as well as Twitch. And so I have various sources that you can check out. I'm going to show you my big screen. So here you go. I got Smithsonian Mag. They have a wonderful thing on how wolves became dogs. ScienceMag.org, what makes dogs so friendly. Smithsonian Mag again, 33,000-year-old skull belonged to one of the world's first dogs. Nature.com, there's articles there, in Science Direct as well. I will post all of these slides that I have on my website, ScientistMel.com. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this particular episode of Scientist Mel Shorts, and I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll see you next time.